This is a GAF Multimedia production.
My name is Melanie Ayola. I am the Executive Director, Sales and Marketing for Tranter IT Infrastructure Services Limited. Tranter IT is an IT infrastructure services company. We consult for digitization. We provide IT automation. We're number one for IT support services and digital manpower. We provide outsourced IT support, outsourced developers, and outsourced digital roles, other roles that are digital for a company to achieve their digital transformation. We also provide hardware services. We are the exclusive distributor for ManageEngine, which is a suite of IT automation solutions. We are also the distributor for Acronis. We also provide productivity work tools by Zoho Corporation. These tools and these solutions that we provide help companies to secure their data, help them to manage and manipulate the data to pull out analytics and reports that are critical to fast decision making. In this economy in Nigeria, it is very critical that companies can harness the data of their operations and see where their where the issues lie, where the problems might be coming, and be able to forecast their problems. And because the problems indicate need for expenditure, it's also essential to be able to pull reports, which ManageEngine does fantastically well, so that the IT departments and collaboratively with other departments would be able to quickly identify any and troubleshoot any issues in the information technology of the organization, and be able to ensure uptime. ManageEngine is a suite of solutions that prevents downtime in the company's IT, and it provides the IT department with all that it needs to, in a user-friendly manner, harness the company's data, protect the company's data, manage the company's data, and provide reports on the company's IT assets, data, IT infrastructure, and it also ensures the highest level of productivity of your entire organization through its flagship product, Service Desk Plus, which is a help desk solution. We have been partners with ManageEngine since 2015, and it has been such a successful relationship that the solution is used across industry and across Nigeria. There is literally no region where we do not have the ManageEngine suite of solutions being used in one of the branches of our numerous clients. And one great thing about ManageEngine is that it's such a well-supported product. There are over 8,000 technicians and staff in the Zoho Corporation dedicated to the success of ManageEngine. ManageEngine is a global brand, and Tranter IT is proud of the success and the ability of the ManageEngine suite of solutions to improve and positively impact the Nigerian organization. Today, we're here for the ManageEngine Port Harcourt event. We're here today to teach both our resellers and independent organizations in Port Harcourt about the benefits of using ManageEngine. Tranter IT is very good at growing the channel and providing revenue opportunities for other Nigerian IT companies, IT service companies, IT infrastructure companies. We work hand in hand with the partners in our channel to provide ManageEngine to their own end users. This event is an event that promises a lot of deep understanding of the ManageEngine suite and a good grasp of the features and the modules contained within the solutions. Those who have attended the event today should hope to go back to their organizations with an understanding of what solutions they really need and what would improve their handling of their IT. ManageEngine has worked for many organizations in Abuja, in Lagos, and essentially across the country of Nigeria. And Port Harcourt is a very key place in Nigeria for business, especially in the oil and gas industry and many other supporting industries. What is very well known to Tranter IT is that the government have put a lot of effort into reforming and improving the oil and gas industry, which has a stronghold here in Port Harcourt. And for us, it is important to support the push by the government to improve on the digitalization of the oil and gas industry. So Tranter IT has always been a key part of the large organizations, medium-sized organizations of Nigeria and their digital transformation. Whether it's providing IT support or providing ManageEngine solutions, hardware solutions, or even IoT solutions. We are consultants, we are partners, we are technology partners to these organizations, and Port Harcourt isn't any different. The oil and gas industry is critical, and therefore to improve the digitization of the oil and gas industry, the IT services companies in Port Harcourt need to be well supported by us. They need to have the right solutions to offer, and they need the support to do that successfully. And that's what Tranter IT is very good at, supporting IT companies with ManageEngine Solutions, ManageEngine support, sales support, technical support. We're here. This is actually the second time that we'll be here in Port Harcourt since 1 year before the pandemic lockdown. And this is the second official time we'll be in Port Harcourt, and we don't intend to slow down here. We intend to build the businesses by providing them with the solutions they need to fill the gaps in the market. For us, the key objective is to provide a very good understanding of the ManageEngine suite of solutions, and as well to build that relationship. A lot of the companies in Port Harcourt are going to come around today. They're turning up. They're giving us their time, and we want to present ourselves and build that relationship so that we can continue to work together successfully and support their revenue generation, to their profit, to their growth. And that all starts with a very honest exchange of information, a meet and greet, getting to know each other, and this being the beginning of great things to come for ManageEngine in Port Harcourt. The next step is also to set up the infrastructure for supporting companies in Port Harcourt, meaning technical support and sales support. Those would be our next steps to ensuring that the IT services companies and the oil and gas companies and other supporting services companies in Port Harcourt, manufacturing, banking, finance, they all get the attention from ManageEngine that they deserve, and their IT automation needs are met by the most appropriate solution for the job, which is ManageEngine, ably handled by Tranter IT, the exclusive distributor of ManageEngine in Nigeria.
My name is David Okeke. I work with Tranter IT Infrastructure Services Limited as a senior sales manager. We're here in Port Harcourt live for the ManageEngine event. This is, I'd say, the first event that we're having in Port Harcourt since COVID, but we're happy that we're all alive to witness this engagement. So some of the services that we provide are ManageEngine. We're major partners with OEMs like ManageEngine, Acronis. We provide enterprise IT support to a lot of the commercial banks in Nigeria, like the Union Bank, UBA, Sterling Bank, Wema Bank, and other insurance companies like Leadway Assurance. So there are quite a lot of them. So we also have services around the security, analytics, network monitoring, enterprise service management, endpoint, a whole lot of our solution that covers more like a 360 need for IT solutions. And this is actually good for organizations that are looking to improve or increase their ROI through technology. So that's and then recently we ventured into IoT. So that's another arm of the business, and then we do IoT solutions where we have various kinds of devices to monitor intrusion, smoke detection, and fall monitoring, tank level monitoring, and a whole lot of other services that actually helps organizations be more efficient and optimize their business.
My name is Henry Agbonze. I'm the channel manager for Tranter IT, and more specifically, I've managed the ManageEngine solution in Nigeria. So, and Tranter IT, as you know, is an IT firm that is global IT firm that say IT solution supports and also IT products. So ManageEngine as a focus, that was what brought us here to Port Harcourt. And we have success stories in Lagos, Abuja. We have over 80 partners in Lagos. In Abuja, we have over 25 partners in Abuja, and that has brought us a good fortune in Tranter IT, and we want to replicate that same success story in Port Harcourt. So we in Port Harcourt to actually push ManageEngine solution to our partners. We have partners in Port Harcourt, and we also want to expand our partnership base in Port Harcourt. And through the sales of ManageEngine solution, which make IT solution, IT automation, and IT workflow easier for every power starter, even in the oil and gas, the telecoms, the banking industry. It makes their work easy. The work of the IT head of IT, the CIO, and all the technicians, it makes their work easy. And this solution is actually broad. We have the ITSM, we have the operations management solution, we have the desktop, which is the endpoint management solution, we have the security management solution. All these solutions are encompassed in ManageEngine solution, and it will make the operation of an IT firm or any organization easier, because now we want to get control of everything that happens in our environment just at our fingertip, just with our phones or with our laptop anywhere in the country. We can just have access to what is going on in our environment. But with the help of our ManageEngine solution, which we are actually pushing to the people in Port Harcourt and also the partners to sell, we can achieve all this, right? So that's the basic of our coming to Port Harcourt. We want to expand the business. We want to make a ManageEngine, which everybody knows as one of the IT automated solution which everyone wants to get in Lagos, in Abuja, and other part of the country. We want Port Harcourt to see the good of ManageEngine solution, and we can see that just with the presence of the partners that are here, they are here to do business, they are here to make profit, and also impact the Port Harcourt business. So that's just it. We look forward to a very great event at the end of today, because we have people already here on ground.
I'm happy to be here in Port Harcourt because the entire Tranter group actually started out its operations in Port Harcourt. This is like coming back to the birthplace for me. And when it comes to Tranter IT, who is the exclusive distributor of ManageEngine in Nigeria, our first IT opportunity was given to us by Shell Petroleum and Development Company in Port Harcourt. So this is a special place for us. And even though we didn't start out our ManageEngine reseller operations in Port Harcourt, it was always on the list. So I'd like to ask you for a round of applause for finally getting back to the birthplace. It's important to know where you started. So I think as far back as 1998, Shell saw how Tranter International, our sister company, was executing a tennis court construction or implementation. And they were impressed by our methodical and engineering focus. We are paying attention to detail, we're insisting on quality, and we got called and asked, can you handle over 5,000 systems? Handle the systems, handle the help desk, and improve the productivity. Of course, we said yes. When you get given that kind of opportunity, you don't turn it down, because Tranter IT is a solutions company. The number one thing that we pride ourselves on is that we will always find a solution. Every organization in Nigeria that is up and running, operational today, deserves an award, a trophy. It isn't easy, but what makes it easier is having good partners to support you. And that is a promise that Tranter IT makes to the organizations that it works for, and the channel partners that it works with to satisfy the IT automation needs of organizations around the country. So today that we're in Port Harcourt, everyone knows that this is a stronghold for the oil and gas industry. We also know what's happening that has been spurred by different government initiatives and oil and gas bodies in partnership with the government. They're pushing business to change, to become digitized. Digitalization of the oil and gas industry in this area, in this specific area, will need an increase in other support services, IT services, logistics services. Everything will need to be upgraded to join that digitized outlook that is being promoted. And the great thing about the ManageEngine suite of solutions is that it touches the entire operations of the company, really assisting in that digitization process. So today we're here to support the growth of the organizations in Port Harcourt, the IT services companies in Port Harcourt, the oil and gas industry, and the IOCs and other oil and gas operators in Port Harcourt. Because where there is an initiative for change and growth, there is a need for high quality, reliable support and technology. And there, the partnership of Tranter IT and ManageEngine is sure to deliver. We have a fantastic lineup of solutions today. We're going to go in depth. We have our technical guys on ground. Please feel free to ask questions, bring scenarios out. We always have interactive sessions. The powerhouses in this room who have been selling, deploying, engaging on ManageEngine Solutions for years, and they'll be able to answer most anything you throw at them. So challenge them, and let me see the ones who can't answer. So thank you very much for coming and making us feel very welcome here. We appreciate your time. and we look forward to all your engagement. And hopefully, by the end of this event, you would understand what we have to offer you that can fill the gaps and provide solutions to any problems that you have yourself in your organization or that your clients have. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we'll be starting with Identity and Access Management Solution. Like I said, good morning everyone again. My name is Valentine. I'm a solution architect in Tranter IT. And today, we'll be diving into some of the solutions in Tranter IT as concerns ManageEngine. So ManageEngine is a suite of solution that has that is categorized according to various sectors in every firm, every environment. So we have those that concerns the help desk. We have those that concerns the security, analytics, network and performance monitoring, and various other categories. All right. So here is the IAM solution at PAM 360. This concerns your AD environment. That is your Active Directory. You will agree with me that the Active Directory is one of the most important sectors of every organization. Dive into the solutions. I will try to be as brief as possible and then to be concise. But then I would advise that any solution that you require a special demo on, you can request with any of the sales executives or sales managers. They would link you up on how we can have a proper demo of the environment. But for now, we just take you introduction into the solutions and what benefits the solutions can actually achieve in the environment. Okay, so we all know that there's involvement. Things are evolving, and then there will always be a traditional method, and there will always be a modern method. Okay, so here is the traditional method of how things were usually done in the past, or some people still use this method. I will not say in the past. People are literally living in the present but operating in the past. That's just the truth. And some of them maybe for the fear of evolving with what is evolving, but then you need to actually be careful about this because the way the world is going digitalized right now, if you don't evolve with the security measures that are ongoing, be sure that at any moment when these bad guys, the bad actors, get hold of your environment, you are done. The security measure had to now increase to what we call the zero trust. So the zero trust means that the person sitting beside you, you don't trust the person, right? The person beside you, even down to let me say up to the CEO of the organization, you don't trust the person. You know why? It's not because the person is a bad person or the person can perform a malicious activity, but when an hacker gets into the environment and then compromise the credential of the CEO, he or she will pose as the CEO and begin to perform malicious activity in the environment. So you will be seeing it as the CEO performing those activities. So that's why I say that no one can be trusted again. So the IT admins, how can you ensure that if their credentials get compromised, how can you audit whatever activity that has been done in that environment? How can you ensure that, okay, I want to be safe. I don't want to trust anybody. But still, yes, I want to ensure that everybody gets to perform the activity they are supposed to perform. And then the operations keep going on without any breakage in operation. I want to ensure all these are actually ongoing while I still keep my security check intact. So that's where the zero trust comes in. So with the help of some solutions that I'm going to mention now, we have them categorized in two places. We have the PAM 360 and the AD 360. Okay, so the PAM 360, the full meaning is Privilege Access Management, 360 degree, and we have the AD 360, which is the Active Directory 360 degree management. So we have solutions under each of these categories that ensure that a smooth running operation, the stress on the IT reps in every organizations are reduced, security is put in place, proper auditing reports can be generated, and then smooth operation is ongoing without any interruption. All right. So this zero trust strategy that surrounds the building of these solutions follows this model you are actually seeing on the screen. So you need to verify who. You need to verify who, whatever that wants to be done, who wants to log into the server, who wants to perform any activity, who wants to create a user, who wants to delete a user, who wants to change a password. It's important that you verify who. And by verifying who, you can't just be asking people random questions, or you can't say, if you want to do this, everything must pass through me to change password, to reset password, to do this, to do that. Everything must pass through me. Then that will be a lot of work on the IT reps. They won't have time for other activities in the environment. But then, we don't have to skip that. You have to verify who. So how do you ensure that you can verify who is performing what activity in the environment? Or do they have the proper authentication to do that? Or are they the right people doing what they're supposed to do? How do you verify this without having to ensure that everybody passed through you to ask these questions? Okay? Another one is a contextualized request. Right? You want to document, you want to audit all these process that are actually ongoing for every of the user in the environment. You want to ensure that they are making they are following the proper channel in making the request. So all these they need to be put in place. So you want to ensure that this person will not do any other thing aside from the task that he or she has been assigned to do, even with the admin privilege. Okay, then grant least privilege. There are some activities that need to perform on the server or in the environment that you don't really need to give the person an admin privilege or the highest admin privilege credential. It might be the list of all the admin credential, of all the admin privilege credential. But then the Windows server, the Linux don't give, or application servers don't really give the opportunity for these things to be easily done and these process to be followed, right? So you want to know who belongs to which security group, who belongs to which admin group. What activity can that admin group have access to in your environment? All this, when you try to use the Windows security event to check on all this, trust me, it's going to take you a whole year and you'll not still be able to identify what you're actually looking for. Okay? So we have to ensure that adaptive control and audits, which are two key important factors, are also followed. So the solutions that have been built in the 360 and 360 follow this technology model and has made everything easy in a user interface that are friendly and can help you at a straight generate your report. If I want to transfer money to you, they send me an OTP first, one-time password, before I can perform that particular transfer, which they call the second layer of security. So we have the solutions that also offer what we call the SSO, the single sign-on, that when you have various applications that you're actually working on, and you want them to not have so many passwords in their head. So you want it easy for the end user's environment to be able to use one particular method to sign into various applications, right? Just by generating a code. That's where the single sign-on comes in. Then we have the multi-factor authentication. That's the second layer of security, just like the way the OTP works also. Then the continuous monitoring. So all these solutions that I'm going to talk about, or I'm going to highlight, works in collaboration with the already solutions or the already applications that you have in your environment. So they're not disrupting. We're not asking you to displace the already existing solutions in your environment. We're only asking you that you need to secure your environment, because an access to your data is an access to a very important part of a company. And when that part of a company is breached, anything can happen. We have in the medical field, they have policies to keep all these in place, because if you lose a medical data of an individual to an hacker outside, they can sue you to court and charge you millions. So why not use thousands to purchase these applications instead of allowing a data breach and then somebody will sue you to court and charge you millions or billions of naira? I don't want to mention names, but there are some recent act of that last year to this year of some medical institutions, and then they got sued. They are paying for it dearly. Audits under the solutions. So let's look at how these solutions actually drive and how they ensure everything goes on smoothly. So the Asset Directory Exchange and Obfuscation File Management, like I said, we have the AD Manager Plus. So the purpose of AD Manager Plus if you have various Active Directory ranging from Exchange Reporter Plus, ranging from M365 admin, and then your on-prem, your Azure, you can integrate all of them together into the AD Manager console. Delete one user, and you want it to reflect on all the Active Directories that you have running in your environment without having to log into Azure, log into Exchange Reporter Plus, log into M365 Admin Center, then log into the on-prem, start deleting. So why can't I just, at the console, delete one of the users, and then it gets replicated on all the Active Directories? Okay, so with the help of the AD Manager Plus, this activity can be performed because we integrate all the Active Directories that you have in your environment together. So once we integrate this environment together, you can see the various licenses that are concerned on each of the end users. You can see the various categories, the OUs under the Active Directory that each of these users actually belong to. So you are going to see these various security groups that they actually belong to. You are going to be able to move from one security group to another. So you are going to be able to move from one OU to another. You can remove from one OU or one security group, and then it gets replicated on all the Active Directories that you have in your environment, that you are operating in your environment. So these are the luxury that Microsoft will not give you, right? They have tried by providing you an OS, the Windows Server OS. They have tried, Linux have tried by providing you with the Red Hat, the Ubuntu. So you don't expect that their one solution should be able to cater for the feature occurrences and everything at a go like that. So they also have lapses. So the AD solution that we have, like the AD Manager Plus, has covered up those lapses. So we augment the process. We are not displacing anything. We are only ensuring that security is kept in check. We are ensuring that the work on the IT reps are minimized so that they can have time for other things. They also ensure that the audit is able to be kept in check without having any major lapse, maybe due to human error. Okay, so on this AD Manager Plus, like I was explaining, you can see all the various policies that you have. You can apply policy, you can remove policy, you can edit policy. So let's say, for example, now a user called Tayo belongs to a security group called General Security Group. Okay, so you added the user Tayo to General Security Group. Now, General Security Group does not have access to server A. But you now discover that Tayo can log into server A. How? Tayo is only a member of General Security Group. General Security Group does not have access to server A. How come Tayo is able to log into server A? That is where the AD Manager comes in. So if I log to the AD Manager portal, I can now see the group that the General Security Group is a member of. So if I see that particular group, I can now know if that particular group have access to server A. Because if I add Tayo to General Security Group, and General Security Group is a member of another group that has access to server A, Tayo will have access to server A. And I don't want Tayo to have access to server A. But how do I know all these are happening? With the help of AD Manager Plus, we're able to see the various groups that one group actually belongs to. And then with the help of that, you can be able to say, oh, I don't want this. Okay, let me restrict this policy. Let me remove it from this. Let me remove this group from this. And all of that. You can be able to, at your own convenience as an IT admin, you see all the policies. So you can be able to keep security in check. You can be able to keep policies in check. You can be able to generate reports of members of a group, members of the OU, members of a particular department, and all of that. You can assign, you can move from one OU to another. Like I said, you can make changes at a spot on all the AD environments that you have in your environment. End users the flexibility to be able to reset their own password by themselves without being compromised. So with the help of the AD solution, there's a particular one we call the AD self-service. The AD self-service is also part of the 360. The rest I explained are other AD Manager Plus and AD audits. So this particular one, the single sign-on and the self-service is under AD self-service. So the application is deployed, is integrated in the environment. The end users, when they get logged out, all what they need to do is to log into the AD self-service, And once they log in, they can be able to reset their password with security questions and also with OTP that will be sent to their mail or their phone numbers, which was used to onboard them on the solution. So they don't have to call anybody to reset their password. They don't have to call anybody that they have gotten disabled or locked out. All they need is that the security questions that was put in place by them when they were registering on the portal of the solution, and the phone number they put at the email address. So all those high level of multi-factor authentication are put in place. It's a solution that solves all of these challenges and provides all of the benefits I have mentioned. So under the AD 360, we have the AD self-service, we have the AD audits, we have the AD Manager Plus, then the Office 365 Manager, and the Exchange Reporter Plus. So they are all under the AD 360. The bundle solution is AD 360, while if you don't want the entire full service of AD 360, you want to break it down into just a particular module that you need, you can get the AD self-service, you can get the Exchange Reporter Plus of 365, you can get the AD audits, whichever case applies to whatever problem you are trying to solve in the environment. Control panel. I want him to have only access to control panel, or I want him to have access to only the desktop, or I want him to have access to only a particular folder, a particular file. That's what I want him to have access to. So with the help of the PAM 360 solution, you can actually do that. So what the person needs to do is that the person will log into the PAM 360 application and raise a request, requesting that I want to perform so and so activity on the server. So once the request is raised on PAM 360, the IT admin gets notified. So when he or she gets notified, he or she will now log into the PAM 360 application and elevates the particular user into an IT admin. Then he has the option also of setting that, okay, I want him to have access to only the desktop, only a particular file, only a particular folder. I don't want him to have access to the rest of the things on the desktop. So once I do that, I can also say that I want him to have that admin access only for 30 minutes. So once 30 minutes expires, his credentials will get demoted back into the normal user that he was. So there's nothing like, oh, I elevate user A yesterday and I forgot to demote him back to a normal user. So over the night, user A password was compromised, and then they use his password to perform a malicious activity on the server or on the data or database or whatever IT resource that is in the environment. So I want to ensure that even while I forgot or while I'm busy doing other things, there's an automated process on ground that is going to perform the activity I'm supposed to perform while sitting. So the user will get demoted back to the normal user. So by the time the user wants to try the same activity again tomorrow, he or she will not be able to do. You have to raise another request. Then what activity the person performed on the server can now even be audited with the help of the AD audits, which I spoke about in the AD 360. So I can go and check all the activities and see what he or she, the activity, the folder he visited, if he replaced, if he deleted, if he did it. So there's nobody denying any activity that was performed. There is no cause for any argument because the report is there to show for it. So the PAM 360 will help you to ensure that the user privilege is elevated. It will ensure that the number of time you want to give to the user is what you give to the user, and afterwards, he or she is going to be demoted back. Okay, so you can see here the privilege access management, which is PAM 360, refers to a set of IT security management principles that help businesses isolate and govern privilege access, control who can be given what level of administrative access to which endpoints, and monitor and what authorized user do with that access. So I can even say, with this credential that I've elevated for you, I want him to have only access to server B. I want he or she to have access to only switch A, router B, endpoint A, endpoint B. So you can restrict them to that particular. So you have kept a good security measure in place so that if anything gets bad, the other resources are not affected. Data in the environment is not affected with the help of that. As I'm explaining, if you have anything you want to ask. and I'm explaining, before you forget, you can put it down or you can stop in on the way and ask me. I'm here for you to answer your questions.
Please ask us all the questions and then we'll provide all the clarifications.
Good morning. My name is Sean from ManageEngine. So I just also want to find out concerning PAM 360, whether it is also, whether we can also, it also provides cover for cloud services. That's one. Then I also noticed that definitely ManageEngine will have a lot of exposure to our infrastructure. So who audits ManageEngine? That's the other question. Thank you.
All cloud services with it. Most cloud services, I won't say all because cloud services keep coming in every day. But most cloud services, be it located on the AWS, OCI, Amazon, be it on Azure, you can integrate whatever application that you have running and they will still get the same privilege benefits of the solution. And then the solution itself is an on-prem solution because we're talking about security here. So we don't want data to even go outside. So the solution is located in the environment. If you have MS SQL database, you can integrate it, but it comes with Postgres database also. So the database of all these credentials and everything is still in your environment. So it's not going outside to any other person in ManageEngine. Okay, so ManageEngine is a compliant security all over the world because it's not a solution like just in Nigeria. It's present all over the world, in America, in India, Asia, Europe, name them. We have a list, endless list of clients all over the world that are currently using these solutions. It's on-prem, so it's secure even on your server. It's deployed on the server. You position the server for us in the environment. We deploy it, so database that the data are located are in your environment. They're not going outside to anywhere. So they are secure. So the compliance, the HPI, SSA, ICS, name all the compliance on our on the information page of ManageEngine. You will see all the compliance. I think it should be in that booklet that we're giving to you. You see all the compliance features of everything, but safe in your environment.
It is assumed that this solution, ManageEngine, is very much effective on all-premises infrastructure. What I call it means is, in essence, if, for instance, an organization chooses to outsource virtually everything to the cloud, whether if the IT infrastructure, everything, but what you just need is just to use the laptop just serve as a terminal to be able to do whatever they need to do. How effectively can ManageEngine, be relevant to such organization?
The API can be used to call other applications. So if I have my applications running in the cloud, let me say in the Azure or AWS, and like I said, it's an on-prem solution. So you can provision a server for you in the cloud and deploy it maybe in the vendor cloud that you have. If it's the Azure that you have, you can deploy it there. Then use the API call to integrate with other applications that you have right there. It's present there. So you can use the API to integrate with other applications that you have running, and then still get the same benefits that we just explained. So it's not restricted to just on-prem infrastructure. Even in cloud, you get the same benefits.
David or Henry to give us an example of a client we have that's successfully using PAM 360 and what it's done for them. So just to make things realistic for those in the room.
TGI Group, and there's AB Microfinance, just to mention a few. They're quite, at FBM Quest, there are quite a number of them, and it has actually helped them to solve a lot of problems and then, and manage privileged access, within the organization. So another thing I'd like to say is, regarding the security that you talked about earlier, I'd like to say that the solution is GDPR compliant. So, and then it's very scalable. When organizations can begin small, you don't necessarily have to buy what you don't need for now. But you can begin small, and then as you grow, you can then scale up. We have different editions of the license. There's professional, there's enterprise, there's standard. So depending on what you're looking for at the moment, you can start somewhere, and then as the need comes, you then scale up gradually. We'll be happy to take more questions, but if there is none, I think we should move on to the next one. We have allotted another 20 minutes for the same solution, the security event and security information and event management solution. So Valentine will also walk us through this product, and then again, we'll be happy to answer any questions. Feel free to also reach out to us, behind here, and then we will answer all of the questions. Thank you.
Okay, I'm back again. Do I need to greet again? Good morning. All right. You should understand that the asset directory and then same as for security. Okay, let me put it this way. In a layman instance, for the fact that you have a gate man doesn't mean that the job of a security man should be abolished. So even with your gate man, you still need a security guy. So you can have, if you are lucky enough in a kind of economy we run in Nigeria, you can have a security man doing a gate man work. But in a proper environment, it should be different. We should have the gate man, then we have the security guy doing his own job also. Okay. So for the fact that you can audit whatever that is actually ongoing in your directory, your environment, and your users, does not negate the fact that you need a security tool in place. A security tool that will be ready for response when the bad guys are around. So that is where we have the same solutions. The security, information, and event management. So people have this idea that, once I have a firewall, why do I need a security solution again as a software? Well, breaking news. They all do different things. And a firewall will not be as granular as a software same solution. Okay? So the firewall has where its own work stops. And that is where the same software solutions come as a complement to that work. So we want to check in place and make sure that security events that are happening in your environment, you want to get notified on those events. You want to use AI and ML-based solution, artificial intelligence solutions that can detect when these are actually happening. That is where the same solution actually comes in. And then you don't want to purchase a solution where you purchase a bundle, but then the service that you need are actually little of the solution. You don't want to do that because you'll be wasting funds in this era of plenty funds. Let me just use it that way. So it's necessary that you scale your security, get the same benefits as you will get if you are purchasing a bulk while making use of the minimal resource that you actually have with you. Okay? So, one of the key terms you should watch out for when you are analyzing security in your environment, security events and activity environment, is what we call logs. Every communication happening in your environment, from your workstation to your server, from your server to your network device, to your router, to your switch, communicates with the help of logs. So it is the logs that is the language they use to communicate. So you want to audit what language they are communicating and ensure that they are communicating the right language and not that somebody has gained access into the environment and communicating the bad language to the good guys, thereby corrupting the good guys. So you want to avoid ransomware attack. You want to avoid various type of attack as much as you can mention. You need to check up on your logs. So, and mostly these logs are usually plenty. Just imagine if I'm talking to this mister, as I'm talking to him like this, I'm talking to him for 24 hours. So how do you want to ensure that? How do you want to filter what I've said to him in 24 hours? Do you want to go through the entire logs from the device, from top to bottom? How many hours do you have in a day to do that? So you need a system that can automatically categorize the communication between him, so it can filter out the good communication and filter the bad communication and filter the communication that involves actions and filter the communication that involves this and that. So with the help of this log analyzing tool that we have, they will help you analyze the communication between those devices and categorically categorize each of those communication into various events or security event category that you need to look out for. For example, you want to know how many failed attempts of log on and log off happened on a particular user, right? You can say, oh, let me go and check the Windows security event. I'll give you from now to the next 3 months. You keep checking, you have not finished analyzing. So, but this AI-based solution can help you to categorize and say, Mr. X has attempted to log into server B or switch A and has failed 3 times. After failing 3 times, the last attempt, he was successful. Now, what activity did Mr. X perform? And what was the reason for the failure of user X trying to log in? Is it due to bad password, or is it due to restricted access, or is it due to any other thing? So you want to be able to see all these things in plain text, in normal readable English, or you want to get notified so that if it's someone that is trying to hack a password, trying multiple passwords, you will immediately get notified and begin to trace. And in the tracing, instead of tracing through the plenteous log that you cannot analyze in the next 3 months that the hacker has finished performing his malicious activity, you want to get an instant analysis of what exactly was the reason or was performed, from what is the source of that. You want to get all those in check at a glance. That is possible through our SIEM solution called Log 360. It's a complete solution. So, what source can you audit using Log 360? The sources from your network devices, the sources from your authentication servers, the sources from your workstations, from your Active Directory, the sources from your third-party applications, database, file servers, security devices, and cloud platforms. You know, there is this general notion that once your application is in the cloud, it is secure. Permit me to say that is an incomplete statement, because the cloud platform, the cloud vendors will do their own part, but then you have your own responsibility to actually perform to ensure that the applications you are keeping in the cloud are in check. Especially when they are permitted over the public internet, you want to ensure that they are actually kept in check and in shape. So it's a full solution that has in it event log analyzer, which analyze all your syslog events. It also has in it AD audit. The AD audit I spoke about in 8360 is also present in Log 360. If your working time is from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., so after 4 p.m., you are not expecting anybody to log into server A. Then suddenly, 1 a.m., somebody log into server A. The AI feature using the user entity behavior analysis will analyze that particular activity and flag it and quickly inform you that so from so device IP address has logged into so server at so time, which is unusual. Activity was performed. This is how you know a good SIEM solution. Who performed the activity? Where was the activity performed? When was the activity performed? And how was the activity performed? So The log analysis can generate all of this for you, notify you, and keep in check. Just like I explained, it uses the AI feature to note how the activity in your environment are actually ongoing. Then if it sees anything outside the box, it notifies you swiftly for you to take action. And you can also automate some processes, like if you can set a process like if the server was logged into anything after 4 p.m., shut down, cut off the communication from the hacker. Okay, finding event correlation, I talked about this. So it uses the pattern. You can use the pattern that is, you can use the pattern of activity that's actually ongoing in the environment and report it to you through email notification or SMS, whatever integration you want to put into it. So there are 3 types of anomalies that I can analyze. The time anomaly, which I explained, the count anomaly. The count anomaly is the place whereby somebody tries to log in into a particular server 3 times and it fails. So it's going to notify you that so and so is trying to log in and then it fails, and this is the reason for failure. Analyze your logs, because those ones don't analyze logs. They only work on response that you give them. If you tell them blacklist YouTube, the only thing they know is that they are going to blacklist YouTube. Whatever else, it doesn't concern them. But with the help of the 360, integrated with those solutions, it will help them better analyze the logs coming in from whatever logs they gather from whatever workstation, and then report those logs to you. Nation, the internationally recognized regulatory like PCI, like IPSA, GDPR compliance, like David mentioned earlier. So you can also know if the device environment are meeting those compliances, and if those compliances are not met, it's going to flag those compliance as not met, and then you can quickly ensure that the compliance are met with whatever configurations that were done on those devices. So this application also integrates with some response platforms like Service Desk Logs, which my colleague will explain shortly, and ServiceNow. If you know ServiceNow, Jira. So these are ticketing applications. So you can integrate these applications with those ticketing applications, so that by the time those activities are flagged, they can get logged as a ticket on the ticketing application, and then so that whoever is on the application also can also see it and maybe assign it to one of the security team member to undo that particular situation and close out the ticket. Okay, Log 360 is a unified solution with an integrated DLP and CAS capability that detects, prioritize, investigate, and respond to security threats. I hope I'm able to convince you and not to confuse you that your firewall devices are not enough to keep your security in check, that provisioning your devices in the cloud is not enough guarantee that you are 100% protected, and also that the logs in the environment are important for you to analyze, and for you to analyze this, you need an automated tool response and not you trying to do a manual job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Valentine. My name is Kingsley from Seawaves Integrated Service. Most of the questions I was actually putting out here, you really do well to explain them, most especially as it concerns already installed antivirus in a particular system. But one of the things I want to also find out using Log 360 or SIM solution is, what if a situation where a particular system was compromised, and in this situation I approach a client and the person is interested in using Log 360. How can we use these solutions to investigate such attack? Is there possibilities using Log 360 to do such investigations? Thank you.
All right. So the question, Log 360 has to be an existing solution already in your environment for you to be able to analyze past logs. So if it's not existing in your environment already, the logs cannot be pulled. So the logs are ready, except if you have exported the logs from that device, then you can import the logs on Log 360. There's a place to import the logs. So when you import the logs, then you can now use the categorizing to analyze the logs of those two. But in the case whereby the logs are not already present, there's somehow it wants to investigate because it wasn't there, it wasn't listening. Keep money in place. Whistleblowers, yes, it's like a whistleblower. So if he's not listening at that point in time, he won't get any logs. So you need to listen first and know what you are telling this person, so that then he can be able to tell you what actually was the conversation and who interrupted the conversation. But in the case where it's not present, there's no logs to analyze. And as it's present in two modules, we have the on-prem and we have the cloud version of it. The cloud version is hosted on the OEM database, ManageEngine, while the on-prem, it comes with Postgres and it can be integrated with your SQL if you have one already in place. Institutions, like, they really need it because most of they don't just come out in the open to tell you that this is what's happening. But if you have an insider friend in the IT governance, risk management, you know that a lot is happening that they need to solve. And this is where the solution comes in. Then the medical field. People that are in the medical field, because they are the most targets these days because of the rules that are coming in, saying that if the medical data gets breached out from this organization, I have the right to sue and collect also amounts. So people are really taking advantage of all this these days. So these solutions are actually very present in majority of the environment, but it's not limited to them, and also to every environment that needs to keep security in check, which makes it everybody that needs it. Yeah.
My name is Ideal Otona from Shoreline Diagnostic Services. It's been quite interesting. This is actually new for me and my friend, since we're from the medical services industry. So my question is this: there was a time when you mentioned about the electricity flagging malicious activities and then notifying the IT admin. My question is simply, for instance, if the IT admin is not available to notice that activity, can the AI in on and by itself take on any precaution measures for that purpose?
Thank you so much for that question. Yes, shut down the device. If you want it to restart the service or shut down a particular service on that particular machine, yes, you can automate this process. So even when you're not there, it takes those actions on your behalf. Thank you, sir. I have no more questions. Are you sure I'm a good presenter like this? I'm not having plenty of questions, so I'm asking myself if I've done well.
The event log analyzer, the firewall analyzer, the log 360 is like a combination of all of those services.
Yes, log 360 has in its event log analyzer, it has in its AD audits, it has even have Exchange Reporter Plus, it also has UEBA, User Entity Behavior Analysis. So these are modules that are present. So if you have event log analyzer, it will only listen to 6 log devices. But then we have the complete suite, you need to have the complete benefit of all that I've explained 360. Right? So that is it. So, but if you want to analyze just your 6 log device event only, you can go for event log analyzer. And then, if you want to ensure that the behaviors of your users also are kept in check, then you need to add the user entity behavior analysis to it. Then the AD audit, because most users authenticate the environment using the Active Directory. So the AD audit feature will integrate to the Active Directory, and so that activities ongoing, which is one of the most important parts of your environment, will also be checked.
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Fola. What I want to ask is, now you said it can be integrated with your existing antivirus or firewall, right? So in the event that it notices an attack, it takes over the operations. Like for example, if you set some of the presets that actions it should take when it notices certain behaviors, right? Does that not make your existing firewall or antivirus redundant? Because if it then takes over your operations after that means that your existing firewall is not exactly required and you should just migrate rather to ManageEngine instead of having to integrate it with the existing firewall.
Okay. But then you need to specify what activity have you set in place for firewall. You know, for firewall, there is most times no response, incident response. Most times it's incident prevention, IPS, or incident detection, IDS. So there's no incident response most times on the firewall. The only firewall that is trying to bring in incident response is the new Sophos MDR features. And even with that, it's not, you don't automate the response. You have people, what they did with that was that they analyze the logs. They also do logs, but they have a separate team that will sit somewhere, analyze the logs while you are sleeping and take response. That's what they do. So most firewall devices don't do incident response. What they do is incident prevention or incident detection. Certain rules don't allow this to pass through the space. And the incident detection, somebody is passing through this space, but they don't do incident response. So as I said, that the log 360 complements the firewall and doesn't displace them.
That allows you to spin up unique service desk instances for different business function role based. So you have different, for using IT as an example now. I mean, IT does not mean I have access to all the services that's being rendered by the department. You can have the service desk team, you have the support reps, you have your sysadmin that attend to different services rendered by those units. So you can have different technicians and give them different roles on this application or this IT solution for the service they render to. So if I'm a support rep, that means I probably do not need to have access to the change management, for example, or what is going on in the project management, because I'm not a project admin. So you can have different role-based roles or privileges that are given to these technicians or your IT reps or users from within other departments that they attend to, and then based on those roles, they'll be able to attend to their services and is managed end to end. From when these services are logged, from when these requests are logged, to when it's attended to, and to when it is closed. You can also manage deployment and administration of multiple services from a central directory. So like I've been saying, it's not just IT, because most organizations or some organizations will have a ticketing tool for the IT, and then they forget that, users also has services that they render. For example, I'm a user, I can log a request against IT. Same user, I might have also requests that I have from HR, or want to request for leave, pay slip, and all of those other activities. I might also have other services I need to get from procurement. I need a new workstation, or I need to purchase different purchases that are going on within the organization. So with Service Desk Plus, a user can log into this platform with a single credential, and then I can see different instances of different instances that different dashboard. I can log my request against. I log into, I can see HR objects, I can see IT objects, account, procurement, admin, and then I can log on to this and pick, this is where I want to log my request against. And once I log it, this request, they attend to it end to end. And an admin, that means, let's say for example, if I'm using IT, an admin can oversee all of these activities that is going on within the application. Okay, so it says design better employee experience with omnichannel ESM. So you can simplify service accessibility for users with a unified enterprise portal for all departments. Just like I've said earlier, all departments can have all their services listed here, and then it is attended to by each of these technicians based on the role that have been given to them. So as an IT person, I would not have access to the services that have been rendered for HR. I would not have access to the details that are available within the HR portal because I am in IT. Same goes to procurement as an example. I would not have access to those activities that procurement is rendering to this organization. It can enable users to raise tickets, search knowledge articles, view announcements across different service desk portals from a single place. So users have their own self-service portal where they can log on to view the tickets they've raised in the past. They can see, oh, my ticket is logged, it's open, or it's in progress. There's communication, that's bi-directional communication between the users and the reps that are responding to their challenges or their issues which they've raised on the application. You can also have announcement that sent organization wide or to particular units. So you can create different groups within this application that allows you to send out announcements. For example, I as an HR or admin, I have an announcement that speaks directly to a particular unit of the organization. I can tailor it to them, and then it goes to the email boxes if it's integrated, or the email or SMS notification based on integration that has been done. And then you can customize this portal to speak to different units. But for example, if you have different, each unit, if they have different custom functions that they use, we can customize it. They have different, every unit has different processes they follow. You can automate these processes also, and then you can say, okay, at log of this particular request, it goes from point A to point B to point C. All of this can be automated. As we call it business rules. So these business rules are created that allows this request to go from point A to point B to point C. And so you as a rep, you are not editing anything. It's the way it has been configured, you have to follow it. Because if you give your reps the opportunity to, for example, you give them the ability to prioritize the request, so attach SLA to request. I as a rep, I can say, oh, I've been busy. This request came in 8 a.m. in the morning. I attend to it by 4 p.m. because of I'm the one that's attaching an SLA to it. So with Service Desk Plus, you can have all of this automated. You can say, oh, at the log of a request, it comes in prioritized. It goes to a particular technician to attend to it, or it goes to a support group to attend to it. You can also say that, oh, if this fails, because you have an SLA also automatically attached to it. So all of these have been configured back end for this request to go or follow through. You can also say that, oh, when this SLA is breached, you can also do an escalation that escalates to, for example, you have different tiers of support. Let's say when this request comes, it goes to tier 1 support. And if tier 1 is not, I've not attended to it within a specific period of time, within the SLA that I have set for it, it can escalate and go to tier 2 or tier 3 as the case may be. Or it can even, and it doesn't just escalate, you can perform actions and say, okay, this particular SLA has been violated. What action do you want it to put? Do you want it to reroute to another engineer? Do you want it to just escalate to a superior that, okay, this is pending and does not be attended to within the stipulated SLA? So you have all of these that can be pre-configured that allows these processes to be automated. You can also customize portal to set perfectly with your business requirements. So even this is not just limited to different units have different business requirements that they allows their activities or their requests, services they render to be fully automated. You have this process, some of them, people still go around to sign, like for example, I'm making a request, I have to fill a form, take it to person A to sign, take it to person B to sign. You can automate this process that when this request is logged, automatically an email notification is sent to the engineer A or person A. He or she acknowledges it, approves this service that you are requesting. If it needs to go to person B, it does that also. So you can automate it and then you can rule out your paper and biro, because sometimes forms get lost. You can say, oh, I submitted this on your desk, and then I say, I've not seen it. But we have this digital footprint where all of these are on the application. And if it gets deleted, you can see it from the audit report that, oh, this request was made and it was deleted by person A, or it was any activity that is performed, you can see it from the audit report, and you know exactly who did that particular action on this request. So you can automate businesses with visual workflows. So it says accelerate business service delivery with powerful workflows created with a drag and drop canvas. So this solution is very customizable because different organizations have different processes they follow. Organization A will not have the same process as organization B. even within an organization, Unit A will not have the same process as Unit B. So you can customize this to follow the process that you currently use on the paper. You can automate that and customize that. You can even the forms that are used to do this or to ask for this service, to request for these services, you can automate them. We also have change processes within organization. You can automate those change processes that, okay, at submission, this is what happens to this request. From submission, it goes to planning and to the CAB till the end of those processes. You can automate them that it mitigates or rule out your paper submission request. And every user or every team member that should be within that process will be informed through a notification, email notification that's sent to them in their email box. So you can have all of that, and even just logging onto the platform, you can have an overview of these activities and the requests that you've made. You can also develop connection with business solutions like HRS, Trigger Tags, and other applications. So Service Desk Plus can be integrated with other solutions. Even the ManageEngine, like Valentine mentioned earlier, when this SIM solution, as an example, is an attack within an organization, and then this attack can be logged as a request within the service desk. So if you don't get, even if you say, for example, you missed the alert from the log 360, it can also raise a ticket on the service desk, prioritize it, and assign to a technician to attend to it. So if you miss that from log 360, you can get a service desk notification that, oh, this attack or log 360 has logged this particular ticket and it has prioritized as I, and you have to resolve it within the stipulated time. So you can have that. So you have it can also integrate with third-party application using API to trigger tickets and notifications to your support reps. It's a monitor, optimize business service with advanced analytics. So it has a great reporting tool that allows you to get report on all the modules of service decks. So before I talk about this analytics, I'll take you through all the modules of ManageEngine Service Desk Plus. So ManageEngine Service Desk Plus covers or goes through the ITIL framework, from your incident management to your problem management, change management, release management. Then you have asset management also, and CMD, which is configuration management database. You also have project management that help you manage your project end to end. You also have service request management, where you can manage your services as rendered by the organization. Because we can all agree that we have two types of requests. There are incident requests, which are requests that hinders performance from your users or causes downtime, which needs to be resolved as quick as possible. And then we have service requests. These are services, they are not always emergencies. Most times they go through processes before they are fulfilled. For example, you need to go through an approval before you can actually fulfill those services. So you have all of these modules within the ManageEngine, the Service Desk Plus, that allows you to manage all those IT processes. So I'll start from incident management. I'm sure we all have incidents that are raised within our organization. Would anybody like to give me an example? So we'll just make it an interactive class where I go to take you through the service desk management. Anybody? Okay, using IT as an example, would someone like to operate that? Anybody?
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah,
sorry, it's afternoon already.
Yes.
My name is Shubayo Ojigere from NLNG. So there are situations where you have incidents from a user. He might call in that he's unable to have access to a particular application or maybe internet service.
Yes, and
so
that would disrupt the services or their work at that period of time, and you need to attend to it.
Yes.
So one thing Service Desk Plus does is that it helps you to prioritize this request. So, because if you give access to users to prioritize their requests, we can all agree that everybody comes with an emergency whenever they want you to resolve their request. So Service Desk Plus allows you to prioritize this request beforehand. So you can categorize. Let me start with categorization. You can categorize this request into different categories. For example, IT. You can have challenges that come from IT hardware. You have software. You have power. You have different categories of database, servers, and the likes. So you can categorize this request, sub-categorize them. Hardware is broad. It can be my workstation. It can be a server. It can be a router, a switch, or any other network, or a printer. So you can even break them down into subcategories. And then even those subcategories, you can still break them down into items. For example, using printer as an example. If I just come, oh, I have printer challenge. You don't know exactly what I'm facing. You don't know if I can't print, if I need to connect my workstation to the printer, or if the printer is a printout but it's blurry and it's toner and it's changing. So it's very wide, and then it allows you to break down these challenges, these incidents, into smaller bits. That allows you as an IT rep, when you get this request, you already have an idea of what to do, even before asking the user for more information. So it allows you to break this down. After breaking them down, you can also have prioritization. Okay, if a printer issue comes in, what priority do you give to it? Is it high priority? Is it a low priority? And based on those priorities, you can also attach SLA to them. When should this be responded to, and when should it be attended to? So now you've taken that power away from the user and the IT rep, you as an IT manager. So you as an IT manager, you've already broken this down to the smaller bits, and you can also prioritize them. So when users log this request, you are sure that, yes, your IT reps will respond to this at a particular period of time based on the priority and SLA that's attached to them. So from this implementation stage, it can be linked with the project management module of the solution. Because Service Desk also has the project management module that you can create your project, assign the milestones and tasks to individuals that will be attending to it. And then they get notifications when their task or milestone is about to start, and follow it end to end. Once this is done, I think that's the end of change management. That, oh, this particular change is about to be done, what downtime is going to happen, and what do you put in place for this downtime. So you have all of those planning, and then to the end, to your change, to your deployment is released, to about to expire, you can have different notifications sent out. So at any point in time, when someone asks about a contract, you have them on the Service Desk module, contract management module. You can also have all your SLAs with your vendors, all the contract documents. You have all of those documents within that place at a single point. So at any point in time, even years to come, you have your repository there. And you can go back and see the information, even your renewal information. You can have all of those details within the Service Desk, and you have access to those information at every time you need them. Then we have the purchase also. You can send purchase requests. When you raise purchase requests, there's always someone to approve that request before it is sent to you, before the invoice is sent to your users. So you can have those activities automated within the Service Desk. And then lastly, we have the asset management. Manage your software licenses, license agreements with your vendors, and all of that. You have an inventory of all the assets. You can even assign this asset to your users. Oh, you know, for example, this is my workstation. I, as the user, I'm already within the Service Desk. It can be assigned to me, and at any point I raise a request, you can also see my asset information. It also has the remote control module, where you can remotely access this desktop to perform your support activities. You need to do troubleshoot. You need to see one or two things on the user's laptop. You can connect remotely to them, and then you have all of these activities. You can perform them without even getting up from your seat.
My name is Ola once again.
Yes, please.
Okay, so what I want to ask is, for example, you have a developing organization or a small organization, right, that because of capital constraints, they decide to go with the solution, right, the Service Desk solution. Now, my question is simply this: if peradventure having enlarged, right, and they want to dive into a custom, they want to build their own custom solutions, is it going to be easy to migrate data from here to a custom-made solution?
Okay.
Or they're going to have to build from scratch?
As regards your question, I won't be able to speak more on the custom-made because I don't know what features will be available on that. But if you are talking about moving from your custom-made to Service Desk Plus, then I will be able to speak more on that, in the sense that Service Desk Plus allows you to import data from other third-party applications, and then you also have an API integration to get data from them, depending on the module you want to integrate with.
Thank you, Koka, for that presentation. So if you have other questions, we're happy to take them. You can meet us behind them. We'll be delighted to answer all the questions. So in addition to what Koka has said, the solution comes in 3 different editions. You have the standard, you have professional, and enterprise. So depending on how you want to begin, you can begin small and then scale up as you grow. Now, just in case you want to evaluate the application, we are more than happy to work with you and have this solution, configured in your environment at no cost, just so that you can evaluate it. And then if your organization is that small, you want to have like a free version, that's available. So we configure it free for you, and then you use it. And then when you see value, you can then return, and then we can then give you a proper license, for you to work with. But for evaluation, we are more than happy to work with you on that. So we also have, a lot of clients that are using this application in the commercial banks. We have them in insurance, oil and gas. There are quite a lot of people who are using it across different industries. I may not name all of them, but a lot of organizations are using it to solve their IT issues. So the next.
Okay, I know it's a lot of knowledge in one pack. So most times it takes a lot of process to digest the whole information. That's why anyone that catches your attention can just note it down. You can request for a demo, a POC, like Dave said, it's free of charge. And then you can see how the solution truly works in your environment. Okay. So the next section is the IT operations, which is network monitoring and application monitoring solution. You want to know when your router, your switch is about to go down. You want to know when the server will go off. That's why I had to use that power as an example. Well, but it was a joke, but it's a very good example. How does it feel when you know when NEPA will take light? So you prepare ahead of it. So that's basically what the solution does. It helps you to know when any of your network device is actually going to go down, be it your application, your web server applications, your Node.js, your Docker, your containers, your switch, your router, your servers, domain controllers, your printers. So you want to know when these devices will go down so that you can prepare for the downtime that is coming, or so that you can transfer the resource to another container, or you can transfer the resource to another device, or make available a stopgap. All right, so it's a bundle suite of solutions that helps you to foresee into those network devices. For example, in a server, there are so many metrics that can make a server to actually go down. The RAM utilization, the disk utilization, the CPU utilization. So these are various metrics, just to mention a few, that can make a server to go down. So you want to foresee into that particular metrics and know when those metrics are being overutilized, so that you can save the day by either optimizing the metrics of that particular network device, or preparing for a stopgap for that particular network device. You want to sync startup config to run config. Then it has also the IPAM, that is the IP address management. You want to see your use subnets, unused subnets, occupy subnets, the various IPs in your environment. You want to gain visibility into them. And it also has application plugin, which is one of the most important. I don't know if we have DevOps in the house here, if we have application support engineers, application monitoring engineers in the house, or if we have people that keep alive applications in the hall here. But if you do, then you know that it's very important for you to be able to sit at your realization point and foresee into when your application that's currently on your environment wants to go down, and quickly attend or optimize, prepare for downtime, or optimize or get exact root cause analysis of what actually can make that particular application to go down. So if you can successfully predict, detect, and get the report of those kind of situations, then you are going to have more availability of your network devices, of your applications. You are going to have more visibility into what's going on in those applications, and then you are going to be the champion of the day, of course. All right. The hybrid is an approach of enterprise computing in which an organization provides and manages some information technology resource in-house but uses cloud-based services. Okay. For those that have those services also running in cloud, that have cloud services running in Azure, AWS, you might say, okay, since my vendor has said that it's going to guarantee me 100% availability of my server in the cloud, why should I worry when the server or the application in the cloud actually goes down? The truth is, we are all aware of platform as a service, which most of those vendors are actually rendering to us, except for those that are using SaaS, software as a service. But if you are using platform as a service, your 100% availability is a shocking news that is not guaranteed by the vendors, because the server that you are running your application on, if that the RAM that you bought in the cloud or you provision in the cloud gets overutilized, that server that you think is in the cloud will go down. It will crash, and it's not the responsibility of the vendor or the cloud service provider for that particular incident, because you are supposed to optimize and know what exactly will be the consumption rate of your RAM or of the request you are getting on those applications, and you're supposed to provision those applications based on those based on your analysis and your forecast. So if you now provision the device lower than that analysis, and then there is a crash on that particular server and it goes down, it is not the vendor's responsibility, or the vendor, the cloud service provider, is not to be held responsible. You are the one that has to pay for whatever aftermath that comes out of that. So you might say, oh, my service is, my application is running in the cloud, my server is in the cloud, so I am 100% availability guaranteed. Shocking news, you are not. Especially if you are operating on PaaS, platform as a service, whereby you have to manage the server or the switch in the cloud by yourself, or whatever devices in the cloud you are managing by yourself. Wait 2 hours in a bank queue, and then the network has gone, you come back the next day, and you are annoyed, and you tell me, give me my money, give me my money. These are the things that are likely to cause it from the back end. All right. We need an application that can point to you directly what is actually wrong on the dependency. So the application has what we call the dependency map, which will show you the server. It will highlight to you what is inside the server, if it is MS SQL database, if it's a JSON file, if it is a Node.js or a Docker or a container, then goes down like that to the child, to the least child level that is actually running. So any of the dependencies that have an issue will be flagged, will change color, will flag red, and then it will send an email notification and also appear on the alarm module saying that this so parent is the reason why so-so's child is actually down. Configuration manager, you can SSH into any of your devices to your startup config, so that by the time power goes down, just like the way we experienced of recent, during the migration, so there are no visibility gaps. Okay, so you are looking for a monitoring solution into your network devices, into your applications. You have to ensure that all these boxes are ticked. So you will not just be monitoring vague. You'll be monitoring what needs to be monitored. You keep check on them, and you ensure that you stop annoying those people that comes to withdraw money in the bank that used to shout. I'm one of them anyway. The ideal hybrid cloud monitoring solution should provide a visual representation of the application architecture, its connections, and external services. This makes it easier for IT teams to understand how applications and services connect and talk to each other, as well as quickly determine the current health status of the hybrid cloud environment. Okay, so there are reports that are attached to these solutions. There are over 100 plus reports, both differently on Op Manager and the Application Manager plugin, that can tell you the health status of every of your device. So you can schedule this report to come in daily. You want to know the health status of your servers, of your switches, of your routers, of your web service applications, and other applications that are actually running your environment. You want to know the health status of those critical devices. These reports, you can schedule them on the solution. So the AI uses the machine learning and the AI features to actually pick out those. So if any of this goes down, or anything happens to any of these services, it notifies you immediately. So you don't need to sit on the application. You can now gracefully set up the application running, monitoring it with Operation Manager too, and go to your Amala joint and go and sit down and enjoy Amala. There's no challenge. If any issue occurs, you get an email alert, and then you can decide to log in and to, if something that you have not automated the process or the workflow, then you can decide to log in and begin to do some changes. But if something that you have done, you have automated the process, you can relax and say, please give me Poppy Orange and top it. Monitor third-party services and SLAs. The monitoring solution should provide the ability to define and track service level agreements and service level objectives. This enables better accountability into the performance of the third-party services. You can document when third-party services are not meeting SLAs and hold them accountable. Okay, multi-cloud platforms. I already explained this. It covers Amazon. If you go to Amazon store, if you go to AWS store, you go to Azure store, search for Operations Manager, ManageEngine, Application Manager plugin. You see it there. So you can monitor those multi-cloud platforms. You can integrate them together. You can use the help of agents also to integrate and do your servers in the cloud, and then there will be communication and pulling of your data. Advanced analytics for fault management and forecasting. I talked about forecasting earlier, where you can now forecast into what your future consumption can actually look like, so you can be able to prepare your necessary budgets for the upcoming year, for the upcoming months. There need not be any argument between the COO, CIO, and the IT reps, again, with the help of the solution. Okay, so I just put in this pictorial format the applications manager and the op manager. All right, I don't know if you can see this clearly enough. Okay, ManageEngine Applications is a platform, acoustic application and infrastructure monitoring solution that monitors the whole suite of IT elements, including a wide array of public cloud services from AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and Oracle, as well as provide cloud and on-premise environments. Like I said, servers, app servers, databases, web server monitoring, end user experience monitoring. With the help of the APM insights, you can achieve. If you have multiple locations, you can have the agent deployed in one location and know what the end user experience is like in that location, so that for those applications that are currently running, then performance troubleshooting, like I told you, direct root cause analysis, then service level management, we talked about that, then the IT operations management too, which is the Op Manager Plus. You can also have it separately if you don't want to have the application manager bundled inside the Op Manager Plus. You want to have them separately available, where you can see what your VPN users are connected, what they are actually consuming, and the various firewall policies that are currently running the environment, the use and unused policies. You can see them. Then the various traffic passing through your firewalls can be analyzed with the help of firewall management and local analysis. Then application performance monitoring management, which is this, as a plugin in this. Then we have IP addresses and switch ports management, where you can see how your switch ports are being mapped together, and where you can see the various subnets that are being actually consumed in the environment, and the various IPs that are under which subnets, so as to avoid IP conflicts in some cases, and also to generate reports for each subnet and know if you have to provision more subnets, if a subnet is getting occupied. So all these are available. So with a very few points of mind, I wish I have been able to convince you and not to confuse you that a network monitoring tool called Operations Manager with application plugin is the right application for you, for your environment, and to avoid unnecessary problems in your environment. Thank you.
I have some questions, but I'll direct others to your people out there. Your bandwidth monitoring module. I was thinking in this direction. Instead of monitoring the applications, is it possible to use this module to manage the bandwidth based on IP address instead of managing it based on applications? Thank you.
But the policy that can be set for now is based on consumption of applications. But then I can suggest it to be in the roadmap for 2023 because we usually have roadmap for all our applications. We are constantly improving the applications. So then we can suggest it to be available, that we have IP address on what bandwidth to consume. But for now, what we have is according to business applications or applications that you want to consume more bandwidth.
My question is on the relevance to organizations operating in an increasingly digital age. Many companies are moving to cloud. They're looking for ways to streamline expansion of teams, at the same time increase the level of automation, not only in the IT department but in other departments, which implies that they will be shifting to using applications for their work processes. How does that, or what should companies present here today take away in terms of the necessity of this specific applications manager when it comes to monitoring your expenditure and your use of those applications you're paying for annually, subscription-wise? So what are the positive impacts to a company of using such a tool to manage their applications in terms of managing costs and monitoring the level of automation achieved within their organizations? Thank you.
Usage on those applications, like I said, there are 100 plus reports differently on Op Manager and another 100 plus reports present on Applications Manager. So aside from the health status, you can also generate the usage reports on the Applications Manager. Then for the licensing, we don't manage licensing, but for availability, to know how available those applications have actually been over the time, you can get that reports also, weekly, monthly. You can schedule it to come automatically anyhow you want it, and at an instance, you can also generate it using a custom period of time. So you can be able to get the usage of those. Then to forecast what the consumption of those applications can be, even in terms of currency, where you can put a value there. That's also available in the forecast mode that is present on the application. So you can forecast what the future consumption of that application can be in terms of resources, and then you can allocate allocate figures of currency to those expenses, to those metrics, and know what the future financial consumption even can actually look like.
I'm not starting up on a server. Your tool can send notification on the causes of those issues. Can it also provide solution, like send you some suggested solutions?
What the solution can be, but with the help of the analysis, it can help you to instantly identify what the users are like. For example, now, if a RAM is being overutilized constantly in terms of maybe in a 10 minutes interval or in a 20 minutes interval, it has checked up on that RAM 50 times, and throughout the 50 times, it's been overutilized. So if that particular server actually goes down, you're going to see those various alarms stating that the RAM on this particular device has been overutilized, the time period, the amount of time it checked up on it, and see that this issue continues before the device actually, the source device actually goes down. So with the help of that, I can know that, oh, the RAM is the first column I need to check on, because this RAM has been complaining for the last 2 hours, 1 hour. So with the help of that, you can be able to know what exactly to check up on. But it will not tell you that, okay, give the RAM 100% capacity, give the RAM, change it to from 8 gig RAM to 16 gig RAM. It won't tell you that. But to tell you that the RAM is the problem and is being overutilized for the last, or the particular threshold that you set for the consumption of the RAM has been crossed for the last 3 hours at this social amount of time. I don't know if you understand the solution to that.
Thank you. I want to ask, from my understanding of what you said, I want to think that this solution
works on the premise of history and prediction. So would that, or what of the case whereby something happens incidentally or unforeseen issues, would that imply that you just keep learning with every new occurrence, or there are alternative routes like some sort of self-management that could handle something that was not seen ahead of time?
Okay, so we only do path analysis and feature predictions. So it does real-time monitoring also. So at an instance, it monitors real-time. You see the graph projecting your real-time availability, real-time CPU usage, real-time this and that. So if you want to monitor by real-time, you also have that option. And you want you to send you notification real-time, you also have that option available. So what some of our customers used to do is that for the critical applications, like for example maybe the Docker or the container, so we do real-time notification for that. Then for other non-critical devices, we can do periodic monitoring for that. So you can set all those options. It's customizable while deploying the solution.
I think it's a follow-up. What the question I have to follow up to her question in terms of cost. Is there like an assessment or like numerical values that organizations can take in with, okay, if we are using this, we are probably going to be saving this percentage of manpower and going to increase this percentage of work efficiency, that or saving this particular cost as opposed to doing it manually. Because I mean, when organizations want to purchase a solution, they need to see the benefits, that they are not just pumping money like that.
Resource availability, it does that. But in terms of financial cost on how much it will save, it doesn't do that. You might be needing a data analyst to help you rectify that. But then in terms of resource availability, in terms of if 50% of this resource has gotten you 80% availability over this period of time, then if you want 100% availability for this same period of time, this resource needs to be increased to 55% or 60%. Yes, in terms of that, because what is monitoring is the physical components of the device and then the software components of the device. In terms of finances, it doesn't do financial analysis. But we have another solution, data analytics, right?
I think what he's saying is that I should be looking at the fact that, okay, GTB star 737, what happens if that application goes down, right? It's going to affect my finance. I think that's where he's trying to point. So I think if a financial institution wants to get such a solution, they will look at the side effect if that solution is down. Definitely, it talks about the effect of at least your finance is being monitored, as in being managed. For example, people want to maybe do a transaction on that platform, on that application. At that given period of time, they could not do anything. So in that way, it also have saved cost. Because what would have happened? You would have got some emails from your clients trying to sue you for not being available. They probably have an SLA signed together with the client. You understand? So in that way, to some extent, it has saved cost for that organization.
We need a 100% reporting tool. That's where data analytics comes in. Okay.
So the applications, like I said, mentioned, the star 373 is being managed by a database. So application manager does that management and give you real-time reports on what is going on. So if the database goes down, it will affect the platform that is being, the OTP or the star 37 something is hosted on. So you'll be able to get real-time report on that.
I hope all the explanations from all my guys answered the question. If you still have a further concern, you can reach out to me after the session. So, another question.
Okay, Valentine, thank you very much for what you've done so far. But basically, if I understood you clearly, this tool is majorly for the server and the application that runs on the server. Now, in the server room or a data center,
a tool that monitors what goes on in the environment where this server is kept.
take me, for instance, measuring the temperature, measuring the humidity, the smoke, water spill, the physical environment, so as to enhance the gatekeepers, that is, those who are responsible for that particular environment.
Okay. For the temperature of the particular device and other metrics, when I say metrics, I put in all the physical components of the device inclusive. So the temperature of the device, the humidity, yes, that can be monitored. But then the environment of it, we have the IoT device, which actually does that and can inform maybe the gate man or whoever that is in charge. Maybe Lani can progress more on those IoT devices. They can monitor the humidity and temperature of the environment.
Yes, so thank you for asking that question. IoT Africa is one of our sister companies to Tranter IT, and what IoT Africa does is provide IoT solutions, that's Internet of Things solutions, and what that means is different parameters in different operational environments such as temperature, humidity, motion, smoke, air quality, pressure, level, flow, etc. Whether you're in an oil and gas environment, a server room, or a farm, we can use wireless devices that use simple zero-G technology to transmit simple measurement differences in temperature, flow, level, etc. Whatever it is that you want to measure can be transmitted to your back end. That would be your dashboard where you receive this data from the comfort of your air-conditioned office without going into the field, thus maximizing the time that any IT department would use to monitor such conditions that are important to the operational optimization of any part of your infrastructure or operational setup. IoT Africa also has channel partners, so anyone who is interested in finding out more information on any IoT device for any specific industry, and we have solutions across all industries from oil and gas, logistics, regular asset tracking, smart building, agriculture, probably even mining, who knows. We can take up that conversation with you later. As I said in my intro, we're here to provide revenue streams to companies who provide services and solutions to operational gaps and need for increasing visibility on all your assets, whether computerized or not. So where ManageEngine cannot pick out information for you, we can pick that information with a wireless zero-G technology IoT device. Did I address the question?
We're going to have a hard stop now and go for lunch. So please feel free to bring your lunch to your table, and then maybe we can have a break of 30 minutes. And then after we can wrap up with the unified endpoint management. That will be the last.
again, I'm Timitayo Koka, and I'll be taking you through Unified Endpoint Management. So the topic says a blueprint for digital era, which means that a lot of organizations now are either going hybrid or doing remote work. Although some still go, majority still go to the office every day, we can say that. So it says, with remote work becoming the new norm, the roadmap for digital transformation is solely dependent on the choices we make now. Which means that now that we are going to the digital era, with remote work and hybrid work, what choices are we making to ensure that our digital footprint are protected? Or what choices are we making to ensure that our endpoints are managed either over the cloud or however your devices are? How are we ensuring that, yes, our devices are up to date, patches that are being rolled out by these OEMs that we work with or by our service providers? How are we ensuring that, yes, these patches are being updated and installed on this workstation to ensure that, yes, they are not susceptible to attack, and then your patches or your laptop or servers are up to date? It says endpoint management has helped millions across the globe create a limitless workplace, covering every aspect of device management from PCs to smartphones. We can now see some organizations not just give out PCs in which your users work from home with, you also have mobile devices that contains companies' data. How are we ensuring that, yes, data is not lost or is not being accessed by unauthorized personnel? How do you keep up with the changes and provide the brand with an ecosystem in which it thrives? So this brings us to Unified Endpoint Management, which is a ManageEngine solution that does end-to-end management of these devices, other workstations and servers. So endpoint management has different, is a bundle solution. I'm sorry about that. So endpoint management has different modules in it. It's a bundle solution that has different modules that take software management, patch management, asset management, remote control, Windows configuration. So this module speaks to different aspects that allows you to ensure your endpoint are secured. Software deployment, how do you, because if your users are no longer in the office or working hybrid or even within the organization, how do you deploy software to them? Do you still have to go to their workstation individually, maybe with a USB, to install these solutions to them? Patch management, how do you ensure that, yes, the system are patched and up to date? So Endpoint Central will give you this control from a central location. You don't need to move around to have all of these features available to you. It also does Windows configuration. You have policies that can put in place and are pushed to these workstations that are being managed by the solution. You have service pack installation, Active Directory reports, OS deployment, USB management, USB device management, power management, and mobile device management. So along this slide, I'll be taking you through these solutions and their features and benefits to the organization. So this endpoint management is actually categorized into two. We have the endpoint management and the endpoint security. Endpoint management, where you have your configuration management, where you can push system configurations across organizations. And like I've been mentioning, it's not just for your on-premise devices. You have devices that are not within your network. So this solution is also available on the cloud and on-premise. So you can have this configuration pushed to those devices. It also does patch management, where you have, because this solution is agent-based, and then the agent contacts your workstation at intervals, where you can scan them for vulnerabilities. It also gets notification when this Windows, as an example, release patches, and then you can test and approve before pushing to your servers and workstation to ensure that they are patched and up to date. You also have asset intelligence. You can scan your asset and give you hardware and software information on these assets. You can have behavioral changes and have them inventoried, and so you can use that to make business decisions. You also have remote system management, where you can remotely connect to your systems and perform troubleshoot purposes. You have OS imaging, where if you have a new workstation or server, you can image an existing system, where you have all the software applications that you need to deploy to the new, and then image this system and deploy to the bare metal that you have. Then it has legacy software package and distribution. And so these are the solutions, or these are the features that are available under the endpoint management. And with that, we have mobile device management that allows you to manage your mobile devices. So organizations sometimes give out mobile devices to users, and then sometimes you need to push documents to those devices. You can also do security management on those devices, where you can say some features of this application will not work. You can transfer data out of it. You can put up mobile devices and some other features. So we'll go deep into this in the other slides. Then we also have endpoint security. So on endpoint security, that's where we have the application control. We also have patch management, vulnerability management, ports and device control, where you can manage the ports within your devices, what USB is connected, or you can even block USB connection from it, and some other activities. So this just means that it's not just limited to Windows OS. You can also have third-party applications that it's scanned, and then once patches are also made available, it has a depository where you can test and scan these patches before you push them to the devices. Then next we have software deployment. It simplifies software distribution to install and uninstall software with inbuilt templates for package creation. So you can have templates, you can create templates that allows the automation of these softwares, in the sense that when you have templates, you have softwares that are, or applications that are made, that are approved within the organization, and ones that are not allowed within the organization. So you can remotely uninstall the software from user endpoint. For example, there's a scan of the workstation or the server. You can have a breakdown of all softwares that are available on it. Remotely, you can uninstall the ones that are not available, that are not allowed within the organization. And you can also blacklist them for being installed remotely while you're not checking. Then we have remote desktop sharing. With this, you can troubleshoot remotely, meaning you can connect to these devices remotely, and you can also do file transfer, video recording, and a lot more with this remote desktop. So you can do your troubleshoot from a central position. You don't need to have to go to your user's office or table at every point. You need to remotely, or you need to have a troubleshoot section with them. All you need to do is remote connect to these systems, and then you will do your troubleshoot. You can also do file transfer, which means that there are files that you need to transfer to a particular device instead of using your normal USB. Some organizations even block USB connection within the organization. So with this, you can remotely transfer these files to the user's endpoint. Then it does IT asset management, which means that you have an inventory of all Windows, Mac, or Linux devices within your environment. You have your Windows workstations and servers. You have all of this inventoried within the application. So you know the amount of, or the number of assets you have. You know their last logged on user. You know which user is assigned to this particular endpoint, and you can have full visibility of it. And then, like I mentioned in service desk, is the IT management is not limited to just the hardware device. You also have a software asset inventory, where you can have an inventory of all softwares that is installed on all assets within your network. You can also do software metering, software license management. You can see if you are compliant with licenses on those devices. You can see if you are under licensed or over licensed. And you can also use that to make business decisions. So you have that available to you. Still under desktop management, we have desktop configuration. So when I say desktop, like I mentioned, it's not just workstation or the old desktop. We're talking about workstations and servers. With this, we have over 50 predefined configurations, which means that
you can set policies and push them to those devices. For example, some organization push screensavers to workstations or servers within the organization. So you can perform those functions from Endpoint Central, where you can push those configuration or policies to the application. You can also do USB device management, where you can block the USB port on your devices. You can do security policies that apply within your environment. You can set those on the Endpoint Central and then push them to devices within the organization, all from a central location. So doing all this, you're doing it from a central point. You don't need to go around to perform. And the good thing about this is that either the workstation is on the network or not, the policy stands. For example, on the network, you push the policy to block all USBs. Once I go off the network, I get home, I will still not be able to use my USB ports because that policy has been set to block the usage of USB ports on your workstation. So you won't be worried that, oh, once this user is off the network, they can undo the policies that have been set. Endpoint Central would not allow that because there's an agent on each of these workstations that enforces those policies that have been set. Then we have modern management. So all these devices or policies and features I've mentioned, you can distribute in-house or app or even App Store or Play Store application. You can distribute them from a central point, from Endpoint Central. You can distribute these applications and push them to the mobile devices and it will install on them. You can also remove and disable or blacklist apps on them and assign redemption code for commercial apps. So if they need to install some commercial app, they will need certain codes that can only be generated for the Endpoint Central, meaning that the IT or sysadmin will be informed or will be aware of these devices, of this application they're about to install on those devices, and then you can approve or reject those requests. Then it also have profile management. So from the Endpoint Central, you can create certain profiles that you push to those devices, meaning that each users or employees within an organization, not everyone are on the same level. You can create different profiles and have different policies set based on user profile. So as an example, this workstation or this mobile device is given to a user, and I'm in technical, my profile is on that technical team. It's different from what an executive would have access to, the policies that the executive is given. So with this, you can, once the user is added to this profile and a policy is pushed to the mobile device, it automatically disable or enable all the features that are available within this device and within the policy that was set for that particular user. So you can have that on a mobile device. And then we have security management. So you can configure stringent security policies such as passcode, device lock, to protect corporate data from outside. So the point or the benefit, one of the benefits of mobile device management is to protect data of the organization. You can push profile, you can push PDF files or Word files in general to these devices and complete or inbuilt applications. But then you still need to protect the data that are on this mobile device. So in case of theft or loss, once this device is connected to the internet, you can do a complete wipe of the data of those mobile devices as long as they're connected to the internet. So you can completely wipe. Another thing is that you can have some functions disabled on this device. For example, you can say the power button cannot put off, switch off that phone. And it will be enabled so that you won't be able to switch off that mobile phone because you've disabled the power button on it. So you have several functions that this application can push to those devices to ensure that, yes, your complete data is not lost. So in case of theft, you can see, since I've disabled the power button, that means you'll be able to switch off these particular mobile devices. Or you can also get asset management, where you can scan details of this asset. All details, the IMEI details, all those details that mobile devices have, you can have them and all the installed app and enforce restrictions on them. Then lastly, we have audit report. So you can have audit report of all activities. You can see what app was installed, what was uninstalled, what your users are using this mobile device for. So now we have endpoint security. So with endpoint security, You can protect your data or your devices. So this is not just limited to the mobile device. We're talking about endpoints in general, where we have vulnerability management and CIS compliance. So it said scan endpoints regularly to detect vulnerabilities and mitigate them immediately using patches and alternate fixes. Also monitor your compliance of your system with 95+ CIS benchmarks. So we know that devices are always susceptible to vulnerability and attacks from bad guys. So with this Endpoint Central, you can, or Unified Endpoint Central, because the bundle solution, we'll still get back to, we'll get to the modules that are within it. With this, you can scan these difference at intervals. So the agent that is installed on this system actually contact them every 90 minutes. So it runs on low bandwidth, where it contacts these devices and gives you real-time information as at when it has contacted them. It gives you information and updates the information of these devices. So at this point, it can do a scan for patch management, where it recognizes missing patches on these devices and then informs you. You can also automate the process when it says that. You can say if it detects a missing patch, it can push that patch that particular endpoint, and then it installs it. You can also do a point where that you have a system that it does a test and approve, which means that you can test these patches. It is approved by a sysadmin before it is deployed to those endpoint, or the sysadmin might not know that, oh, this is a software that can increase the risks on these endpoints. So with this, you can have those, I can before detect these softwares, blacklist them, and ensure that it is no longer installed within the environment, meaning that at any point a user tries to install, there will be a block that doesn't enable them to do that. Then we have application control. You can blacklist malicious application within the environment. A lot of organizations have applications that are not allowed within the environment, which means that you cannot install them based on security measures that have been put in place. So Endpoint Central can enable you to enforce this blacklist and ensure that your users don't install this malicious application, and then you can whitelist business critical application also, which means that every point a user tries to install this, they have to go ahead to install those applications, and then you can streamline the uses of application within your network. Then we have browser security. It says adding browser by filtering websites and monitoring the plugins, add-ons, and extensions used in your network. I'm sure that sometimes you try to browse and then you have a pop-up that, oh, this site has been blocked or something like that. So with Endpoint Central, you can ensure that, yes, the URLs that are being accessed is not susceptible to attack, which means that you can block them. You can block their add-ons, the extensions that come with this URL that your users try to access, and then they are not able to access them because it has been blocked, blacklisted within the organization. So still on endpoint security, we have data loss prevention. Achieve data loss prevention by mirroring and monitoring, restricting data from transfer to corporate devices. You can restrict ways in which this data is transferred within the organization. I mentioned the USB block. You can also disable Bluetooth or these devices, whereby users can transfer data within from device to another. So once you restrict this, your users won't be able to mirror or monitor or transfer data from the devices, because the USB is blocked, the Bluetooth is blocked. They won't be able to transfer data out of your devices. Then we have BitLocker management. So Endpoint Center can be integrated or can be integrated with BitLocker, whereby you get or you can ensure protection of ensure protection and also manage this BitLocker encryption in your data, along protection with the machine. So you're not just BitLocker monitors software. It also does TPM monitoring, which is tamper protection monitoring, where you can also monitor or manage the protection of your hardware and not just your software. So Endpoint Central actually has a lot of features, and then your users or your technicians, or your reps, can have role-based profiles on this that only enables them to have access to modules that relates to what they work with. And then once you get a report, you can have report on all of those activities performed by those technicians or IT reps within the application. Then we have device control. Device control curb insider attacks with a trusted device only policy gain visibility into peripherals plugged to your devices. So in addition to blocking USB, you can also have information on all peripherals that is attached to a particular workstation. Oh, okay, is it a printer that is attached by USB if it's not a network printer, or what other device are your users connecting to their workstation? Or so you can have gain visibility into those devices, and if you need to block those ports based on what the information you've gotten, you can go ahead to do that on Endpoint Central. So Endpoint Central, like I mentioned, is a bundle solution, but it can also stand as a standalone, where you have the mobile device management as a standalone device if you don't need the whole bundle. You can also have Patch Manager Plus that allows you to automate patch processes within the organization. You can have Patch Connect Plus. So you could be wondering what's different between Patch Manager and Patch Connect. So Patch Manager speaks to Windows OS, Mac OS, and Linux. But then we have Patch Connect that can deal with third-party applications also, where you can automate patching of those applications. Then we have OS Deployer, where you can image a particular asset and push those images to a bare metal within the organization. Then we have Remote Access Plus that enables you to remotely connect to devices, troubleshoot, and do every activity that you need to perform as an IT rep. Then we have Unified Network Monitoring and Endpoint Manager. This is for MSPs, so devices that have devices all over that they need to manage. Then we have under security, we have Vulnerability Manager Plus. So the Vulnerability Manager Plus is the one that speaks to the vulnerability management which I spoke about earlier. Then we also have Device Control Plus that prevents data loss within the organization. We also have Application Control Plus. So Application Control Plus does the software discovery and endpoint privilege management for these devices, and then Browser Security Plus, which does the URL blacklisting, whitelisting, add-ons, plugins, and extensions. So that will be all. Do we have questions?
I want to ask questions like as if I am the user
okay.
of these solutions. Now, in a situation where a user subscribes to this service, because I understand that this is a service, so it's a paid program.
Okay.
So, and the user is in one way or the other unable to continue the subscriptions after using each of these key features you just explained, like denying access to USB and other features which are already active in the user system. So when a user can no longer continue with the services that your solution is offering, so can this user use a system the way it was without encountering any of these block issues, as in to just manage for that period of time where he will be able to subscribe to the service again?
The first one, yes, you can unmanage assets. So for example, your subscription finishes, you have to it will obviously sorry for using that word. It will allow you to unmanage all of those assets. But I mentioned earlier that this is agent based, which means that unmanaging means that all those agents will be uninstalled from the endpoint. So if you are subscribing again, you're starting the deployment all over again, because once the subscription finishes, it goes to like a isolated or it is downgraded. So all of those features that you use will not be available any longer, and then the agent will be uninstalled. So if you are doing that, meaning that when you want to subscribe again, you are starting all over again, installing those agents across those workstations. But one thing again is that desktop endpoint management can push agents to those workstations by itself. So it's integrated with your AD. It gets a list on inventory of all those assets, and it can push the agents to them. So if you don't subscribe at that point, the agent is uninstalled, and then you have full access to your endpoint. And then at the point of submission, then you have to start the process all over again.
So, if, for example, a client subscription probably is going to end by the license is going to end by the end of this month, right? And you've not gotten approval for the license, right? Is that what you're saying? And you want to continue maybe for the next 1 year, right? Is that what you're trying to say? Then, so because ManageEngine is very it's not like a static solution. We are robust in ManageEngine. So what we do here is that you can request for an extension license, right? You can extend your license, meaning that you can extend your license for 1 week, 2 weeks, or 1 month, pending when you get approval for the license to be purchased. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So within that period of 1 month, 2 weeks, and 3 weeks, you should be able to get approval, because I believe that every solution that is being used in an organization has been budgeted for. Probably the approval level has really been so tough for the technical or the procurement team to get it done. So that's why it got to the point of expiration, right? So we have that opportunity for whoever that wants to continue and renew the license. So that can be done. Let's assume I want to sell Desktop Central. Or what are those things that you see in an organization that will make you want to sell a Desktop Central solution to the client?
Okay, thank you for that. So, Desktop Central automates some processes that your sysadmin does. So it allows you to have control of this asset from a central location, meaning that software deployment, for example, antivirus, you'll need to deploy a new antivirus across the organization. Instead of you going one table to table to install this, you can use the OS deployer module to deploy this across the organization. So like that, you've cut away time in which you used to deploy this across the organization. So you can do that from a central point. Same as the patch management module. Sometimes you might even miss the new patches that is being made available by the OEM. But with Endpoint Central, you get those notifications telling you that, oh, there's a new patch available. Do you want to deploy? You can test and approve it before deploying it across board.
So what you're saying is that for an organization that that has over, say, 20,000 computers or endpoint,
yes,
I should be looking at selling Desktop Central to them, because one, it will ease their job, right?
Yes, it will do that. It will ease your job, and you have all these real-time reports. So you have graphical reports on all of this. You can also see your system health. You can know, with color codes, you can know which is in danger based on approved patches that have yet to be deployed to these endpoints. So you can see the patches that are missing on them, and then you can deploy these patches to them.
Sorry, let me add to that. We've mentioned patches and patches. Security does not actually end with the network security devices that you have put in place. Even the workstations, the end user's workstation can be exploited. And that is why there's a need for DLP. Most companies have policies in place for DLP, data loss prevention. And all these are not easy to checkmate. Now that we won't have remote working, people work from different locations, right? And you need them to be, you need your data in their devices to be protected. So there's a huge need for solutions that can do DLP even in remote locations. That is, I don't have to be in the office for all these policies to apply to the end users' workstations. I can be in Kaduna, I can be in UK, I can be in US. And the same policy you're applying here is going to route to every workstation wherever they are, with the help of the agents that is deployed on the access points, on the end users' workstations. So there's a huge need for DLP solutions, and that is where Desktop Central comes in. And then silent installations. You don't want to be installing applications and then interrupting business operation. So you want that the end users are doing other things and application you are installing is installing. And by the time they are done, they will not even be aware. You just tell them, please launch the application on your workstation. And then they launch it and then they see the application that was installed launched. They will be surprised. It works like magic. So they want to update patches. You don't have to tell them to bring their system, shut down their system or something. No. All these things can be done silently without interruption to whatever business activity that the end user is currently working on. So those are some extra advantage that you want every system admin to actually have.
Thank you for that. In addition also, if there are some softwares that when you push or install, it actually requires you to restart. At that point, Desktop Central does not just restart the user's workstation at the point, even as during the work hour. As at the point of shutdown, then those patches or software you've deployed would update, and when they put on their workstation, then you have it all installed. So it doesn't cut them short during their work hours to restart because an application has been installed. It will not also do that.
All right, thank you very much. So you made mention of the fact that Desktop Central has a different solution in it, right?
Yes.
So is it possible for me to get this solution separately? Like I'm not interested in just OS deployer. I want patch manager. Can I get patch manager separately?
Yes. So another beautiful thing about it that it allows you to scale. Because Desktop Central or Endpoint Management, Endpoint Central is a bundle solution. And if you do not need patch management or OS deployer or any of those other modules at that point, you can start with what you need and then scale up as the need arises. So it allows you to do that. Okay. So some organizations make available official phones to their users, some even to their sales team. They make these phones available to them to be able to make calls and all of the others. And at some point, you need to transfer some files to your sales team. So instead of having to call them back and say, oh, come and get this file at the office, and then you have to use maybe Bluetooth or something to share it amongst them, you can push these files from this central point to the devices. You can push it there and they will get access to it. If you have applications, maybe inbuilt in-house applications.
Should be looking out for clients they can sell this solution to. Right?
Yes, thank you.
So once you see a client that has these numbers of endpoint or mobile device, and they want to manage this mobile device at a single point location, and they don't want their file to be compromised, right? Why they are using those devices?
Yes.
So MBN is the solution that you should be looking out for.
In addition to that, like I mentioned earlier, in case of theft and like Valentine mentioned, DLP, you can do data protection by wiping clean those devices in case of loss or theft. So outsider does not have access to data, company data. Please go ahead with your question.
Good afternoon once again. You have actually answered my question at the later part of your discussion right now, but I still want to throw more light on it. Since these modules or these packages can be sold to other companies that can be used within their environment, who has access to this data? Are you trying to tell me that even the owners of this company, don't they still have access to this data?
If you are pushing data to devices, it's because the end user needs that data. So the data wipe is for in case of theft. And again, there are role-based profiles available on this solution. So not everyone in the IT would have access to it. I can say based on maybe you have a tier 1 support rep and they only should have access to the inventory management, which is the asset management. You can restrict their profile, and whenever they have access to the application, they can only see that particular module of it. So it is role-based. We have role-based privileges.
Since these companies' informations are on your application, does it mean you don't have access to them? Because it's being hosted on your server?
Thank you for your question, sir. So policies are ensured that if at all this data will go outside, there must be a permission granted from maybe the admin of the solution. So your data are not hosted on our own platform. They are still on the end user's workstation. But then, what do I do to ensure that this end user does not carry this data and give to somebody that would do a malicious activity, or someone that don't want data to get into his or her hand? So they use the policies that have been predefined in the solution to ensure that if at all the data will go outside your workstation, it has to be through the right channel that has been granted access. For example, the USB. So if you apply the USB to it, no data will go out through the USB. If I say Bluetooth, no data should go out through Bluetooth. Anything transferred through Bluetooth will not go out. If I say no data should go out through Wi-Fi, any data transferred via Wi-Fi will not go out. If I say no data should go out via email, any data you're sending via email that contains a document with a particular name of the company, I don't want it to go out via email. So once you are trying to do all those things, it's going to scan it, and it's not going to allow you to send it out.
Does the application have client side and server side?
Yes, it has client side and server side.
Okay, the server is hosted on the customer's premises.
Yes, we have the on-prem version and the cloud version.
The cloud version is the question we're asking.
So the cloud version is just for the management of the agents on each of those endpoints. So there's no information in the cloud. It's just managing it. For example, now I give each person here a mobile device, and I want to manage the activities on the mobile device. The information on the mobile device is not with me. It's still on the mobile device. But I want to manage the activity on the mobile device. For example, I want to manage Bluetooth connection. I want to manage Wi-Fi connection. So I have a centralized platform, which is where the server end, where the agents that have been installed are being listed, where I can push the notification, where I can push the policy, restrict policy, or block or unblock USB ports. But the information is still here on my phone. So I can say information should come in. You can transfer, you can input data, but I don't want you to export data. So I apply those policies from my end.
So in addition to what he said, what you are managing are the features of those devices, not the data on them, the USB ports, not the data on them. I hope that answers your question.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please, I just want to ask a question, please. Thank you for your presentation. I really appreciate it. Mainly, our work is mainly in schools. When you want to approach some of the school, on what application that you are going to tell them on, and what suggestion and what, let me hear from you, please.
Okay, so when it comes to endpoint management, some schools have tabs that are given to students. So with this, you can restrict applications that can be installed on those tablets. So you can restrict it to educative applications only. So they won't be able to install Netflix, as an example, to watch, because you've blacklisted that application on those. You can also blacklist URLs that can be accessed with the browser security plus. So you can say they can't access certain URLs, and when they try to access that, it is blocked. So you can have that also on Student tab.
And you can also manage the inventory of the tabs that you have on those with those children, and know when the tabs are online and when they are offline. You can also manage the patches that are being deployed on those, because most people don't want to update their phone. Data is expensive, right? But you forget that the update is for most times security features that will help block some hackers' activity that might want to go on with the tablet, and also viruses that might want to spoil the phone. So you can all manage all of that with the help of the vulnerability module that is available on the Endpoint Central, and you also keep inventory of the softwares and number of tabs that you have currently. You can generate the reports for use.
In addition to that also, you can restrict their ports on those devices. So even if they can't download, they also cannot transfer it into that. Also, when you do an inventory scan of those devices, you can see all applications that are installed on them. So even if maybe maliciously they were able to install, even though they will not be able to, you can still have a breakdown of all the applications that is currently available, and then you can transfer files remotely. Educative, maybe you have a hard copy or soft copy textbook you want to transfer, you can do all of that from endpoints, from the mobile device module. You can transfer those files to those tabs that the students are using.
You said you only have access to, I think you work on just the features and not the data. But what of a scenario where, let's say the device is bad and we want to retrieve the information that is on that device? Or you could have a staff that, we've had issues with staff that are given devices and then they resign and we don't get to get those devices back. The data that is on that device, how do we get them out of the device? Because it is the data that is even more important to us than the device. So that's my question. Thank you very much.
Like we explained, the data is still on your device and it's not on our device. So you can't have access to the data that are on those endpoints. You can only destroy the phone. You can do self-destruct on the phone. If it's stolen by somebody, you can just do so. It will be useless to the person. You will not have access to, the person will have access to the information that are on it also. But if you need a backup solution, we have Acronis backup solution that we can advise you to go on with. So with Acronis backup solution, you can do the backup of the data that are there. You can also do the DLP that we're actually talking about, data loss prevention. But the only thing is that you cannot do all those wipe off of the phone or self-destructs of the phone. Those features are not present. But the DLP, data loss prevention, that is transferring data from this thing, and the backup of this thing. Then also providing the security features that are needed for that particular device as against anti-ransomware. Your data in transmission is protected. Your data at rest is also protected against ransomware. And it does it incrementally. That means it consumes the lowest of your bandwidth. That is, if it scans your device, if the new Word documents that you have today is just 2 KB, it is that 2 KB to just add to the former ones you had backed up from yesterday downwards. So it consumes the list of this thing. And it also does vulnerability scanning also. It does vulnerability scanning also. You can see the missing patches also on those mobile phones. Then it also have the file sync and share where team members can collaborate like a shared folder that is not on the network. That is, I can be anywhere and I have access to the same shared folder that this guy has access to, that is on my phone. So those are the advantages of Acronis backup.
Tranter IT is also a distributor of Acronis solution in Nigeria. So you don't need to go anywhere else. Just reach out to us. You get Acronis device solution for your backup.
My colleague and I have actually been asking ourselves, like, what extra value are we going to get from this that we are not getting already in SCCM or our or ECM, SCCM? Thank you.
Where it's script-based and all of that, the UI is very easy to use, and just with a training, you can perform all of these functions. Because we actually have clients that have SCCM, and then they still come back and say, "Oh, we need Desktop Central," because of the easy-to-use functionality of this solution. Also,
for the fact that you can integrate it easily with other solutions, so that's another advantage.
And you can also scale.
I'd like to say a very big thank you for each and every one of us. I can imagine the troubles you guys went through to block your calendars to be part of today's engagement. It was a success, and it was all because of your presence. So thank you very much. We've actually come to the end of this seminar. And then I'd like to call on the ED to give like a closing remark. Please feel free to, reach out to us via our emails, or, you can take our contact.
The ED can't climb this stage right now, even though I just had salad and pepper soup. Seems it was quite sufficient. So yes, thank you everyone. Today has been encouraging. Thanks for the questions, the contributions. And I'd like to appreciate the technical team that came and took us through the solutions. I'd like to believe that we have an idea of what can apply to us and what we're not really looking at. One thing that we always focus on when presenting ManageEngine is that your needs in your organization can be attended to. Your goals for the year or for next year, create visibility here, reduce this, increase this, whether it's productivity or increase the security on data, or be able to provide certain reports to certain levels of management. We can provide those for you. As an organization, our focus is to support the organizations in Nigeria using IT solutions and using all the knowledge that we have gathered over 18 years as a company to help each other maintain strong operations, continue to innovate, and continue to be successful in a very challenging environment, might I add. So I'd like to just have a round of applause for ourselves for choosing to be innovative and come to this event to hear new things. I trust that you've taken some things that you take back to your companies. Like David said, please feel free to reach out to us. Even as a technology partner, because they need it. So we solve your problem today. Tomorrow you're stronger. You open new branches. You start new businesses. We get more business. So your growth is always in our best interest. But growing with efficiency, growing with optimization of operations in a way that the value is real, it's not just perceived at the initial stages, it's felt all the way through. And one thing that we can assure you is that when it comes to service, when you start working with oil and gas companies at the beginning of your existence, you know how to meet sometimes extremely detailed demands for quality and the level of customer service demanded. You have to meet it or you step away from the opportunity. So as a company who has survived in that space, we've been proud to continue that level of service delivery to our clients and building that through our channels with our interactions with our partners is important to us. Because as they say in Nigeria, in case of tomorrow, we might be the ones who need solutions from you. Thank you everyone so much and have a fantastic rest of your day.
My name is Abayomi Samuel, and I was invited by a mentor to this particular event, and I must say it's been such a wonderful stuff. Although as a person, I'm not really into the tech world. I'm a medical laboratory scientist, and in my facility we have a lot of tech foes, but I would say that the exposure I've gained here would make me appreciate the tech connection, that interconnection and the networking in all of the systems. And I think their products are really, really impressive. It's something I would also make reference to when I get to my workplace, so that's it. I particularly enjoyed it.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Adifolaju Adewumi, and I'm here at the ManageEngine Service Desk Plus seminar. Right, it's been a great experience so far. Right from the beginning of the session, we started in the morning. Right, we've had a good time so far. Learned a lot on several IT solutions, which it's able to touch every niche of where you could need solution in today's digitalized world. And trust me, ManageEngine so far has been so cool, and it's a service that you should really look into. And you know, in this digitized world, let's go digital with ManageEngine Plus.
This is a GAF Multimedia production.